Hi, my name's Jonathan Hicks. I'm back at the Dice Cup, and this evening I'm joined by...
Thanos? Mark.
And we just finished playing Black Rose Wars, which has a humongous box here, partly because it comes with lots of miniatures and things. Essentially, this is a first-person shooter, if you like, but it's fantasy. So you get a sort of mage, like Nero here, I think he was called, and you're sort of running around this Black Rose Lodge, throwing fireballs at each other, trying to do as much damage as you can. So if you manage to do damage to someone, you would take your cubes, your damage cubes, and you put them in their kind of health tracker. So you can see Mark here had taken 3 damage from one player, and say another 2 damage. If your health, these are the damage other people have done to me, if your health gets all the way down to 0, then you kind of die, and it's not too punishing. You sort of respawn at your starting hex in the corner, and then people score points according to who did the most damage. And that's what really the game is about, is actually trying to score as many points as you can. So there's a kind of point tracker here. You see these are our points at the end of the game. But it's just most points wins, and you're getting points from a variety of things. So as I say, whoever does the most damage gets some points, second most damage gets fewer points. You're getting points for doing damage to people when they die. You're also getting points for damaging the room. You can see these tokens here. I've managed to damage the forge in this case. And if a room takes a full amount of damage, then at the end of the round you kind of clear off the damage, and the room is destroyed, and you sort of flip it over, and there's a destroyed side to the room. Now you can still wander through it, but when the room is destroyed, you can no longer do the action. You get a trophy for destroying the room, which you can see is worth points. This is worth 2 points. It goes in your destroyed room section on your board, but you can't activate the room. What does activating a room mean? Well, on your turn, typically, you can do a number of things. You've got 2 sort of standard move actions, these things here, which you can use, but also you've got some spells. So at the start of the round, everybody gets to draw a couple of spells from their deck. You're sort of building a deck, and incidentally, you're acquiring extra spells at the start from a variety of different schools of magic. We've got divination, conspiracy, transmutation here. So you're going to be picking a few spells from here to add to your hand, as well as drawing some cards from your deck, and then you're choosing which spells to play. So you have one quick spell location, which you can kind of play whenever you like on your turn, but then the other ones go in these spell 1, spell 2, spell 3 spots, and you kind of initially put them face down like this, deciding which spells you want to play, and then when it's your go, you can do up to 2 things. So you could do a move and then activate a room, for example. So this is where I might move, and you activate whatever the room does, and all these different rooms do a variety of different things. So this one will get you the first player token. This one lets you draw some extra cards. The forge, which got destroyed, would let you move and attack somebody. The abyss, so you throw someone down the abyss and they kind of have to respawn back in their starting hex. So there's all kinds of different things that the rooms can do. You can also use your basic physical attack to attack somebody. You can punch them in the face for 2 damage, and again you're just going to stick the cubes on their track. But then, as well as doing one of these things, you could also potentially cast a spell. But the spell 1, 2, 3 have to be done in order. You can't play spell 2 until you've played spell 1. So this is quite important in terms of the planning. So in this case, I could summon a divine altar in a room. So that would be one of these things, and you kind of plonk it in the room. There's a little peg system. You sort of stick these little pegs in here to track that it's yours. You can see on these ones, these have already been marked. And these will help you in various ways. You can kind of get points from the altars and things and use them for healing or other kinds of things. But the crucial thing is you've got to be very careful about the order in which the spells activate. A lot of them will just do damage. You see this one does a damage to a target in the room. If I discard a card, it does 3 damage. What else have we got here? I can remove damage from the room, and I can earn power points. So again, that's the victory point sort of thing, effectively, for each one that I remove. So there's a variety of different things, and the different decks behave very differently. So Mark was big on the old destruction spells, threw lots of fireballs around and did loads and loads of damage. Most of the rooms that have been destroyed over here are big Mark's trail of fire that he left behind him. Necromancy is how you can summon the various miniatures. Our 4th player was summoning lots of creatures like here, the undead army, and they were sort of running around attacking. After everyone's had their actions, then the evocations, I think they're called, but the miniatures will run around and do a bit of attacking themselves. Divination lets you mess with the event cards, so there's some cards that come out, sort of events that happen each time. So in this case, every time a mage dies, the defeated mage inflicts 2 damage to each mage in the room. So you can sort of get yourself back on people. Conspiracy is like messes with other people. Yeah, you've seen most of these, but there's a wide variety of different kinds of spells in terms of what they do. You can also, if you go to the Black Rose room, acquire the all-powerful Forgotten spells, which do crazy powerful things. So target a model, that enters the room, and you can steal 4 points off them. Ouch. So, more or less that's it. You run around trying to do as much damage as you can. There are some quests that will give you a bit of focus. But essentially, once somebody gets to 30 points, you do the end game scoring for any rooms that you've managed to score. Every time you kill somebody, you get a trophy, and most trophies get some points. And most points wins. What do we think?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's a mix of deterministic effects and simultaneously it's a bit chaotic. It's one of these games that when you first play them, you feel paralyzed, like how many things I can do. There are lots of different paths to chase for the victory. You can pursue a path of destroying rooms or destroying enemies or completing quests. So you don't know exactly how to manage all these things. But once you get the grasp of it, you want to play it again and try a different strategy. Yeah, it is a good one. It takes the mechanic from Adrenaline and really expands it. I mean, with so many abilities and yeah, I enjoyed it. It's a good game.
Okay, Mark?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. I think the answer really said is Adrenaline. I think this is a lot deeper with a lot more variation. Each of the characters are far more different and can be built far more different by what spells you take. Like whether you're going to sort of Legion or you're going to start messing with other players or you're just going to go straight for damage. The learning curve on this is much higher than Adrenaline because there's a lot more symbology to go through. The teaching was, I would say, actually probably quite tricky. I'm glad I didn't have to teach it. But once we'd gone through 2 or 3 rounds, it was fairly smooth. It's not going to be as smooth as Adrenaline, but it works. If you want more and you're happy to take the fact it's going to take a longer time, then this is a better game. And the stuff like the scoring is almost identical. Whoever does the most damage is going to get the most points, but if you've done some damage, you still get some points. The best thing about it in the way of damage is the fact if you take loads of damage, you don't feel like hard done by. You don't feel picked upon because you just respawn, so there's no real like, oh, I've been done in by another player very often, unless it's messed you up in position by when you actually start. I like the actual quests in this game. I think they give you a target rather than just outright attacking players, and I do really enjoy the spells and events that come up, but there's just so much more of it. It's always going to be it says 90 minutes on the side of the box, but I think with 3 or 4 players that's always been pushing it because there's just so much time having to go. Even when you get the symbologist looking through and working out, optimizing what spells you want to play this round, and particularly what order you want to play them in with. So there's a lot of things to slow it down to, but it's still really fun. And the only other thing I'm going to say is this needs a second reprinting because we've come across quite a few misprints on cards and things like that, which just let it down there very slightly. It's like they're not major, but you can quite obviously go with the way it's written going, that means a single rather than multiple and a few dodgy words here and there.
Rating?
I would give it currently a 7.5.
Okay. Danos?
A 7.5 for me as well, and it could be higher, but it's just because of the fiddliness, a little bit of the position of the cards during programming, and yeah, this kind of things. Just 7.
Okay. It's a great package, I think. The component quality is fantastic. I really like the miniatures, card quality, tile quality, really nice. Love the artwork. So it looks great on the table. Really enjoy the table presence it gives you. And the game itself is a lot of fun in terms of just run around, fire a few fireballs around. It is fun. The only thing, as they said, that detracts from it is it's just too slow. For what it should be providing, it takes a long time. The learning curve is very steep. And you're spending a lot of time reading the cards. What does this do? And I didn't really go into details, but every card's got 2 sides. You can flip it upside down and play it for a different effect. So you pick up a card, you read one half, you flip it over, you read the other half. Then a lot of the time at the start of every round, you're drafting, like you're choosing between several cards, which ones you're going to take. It's just a lot of downtime while you're waiting for everyone to read through the cards and figure out what to do. Once you know how to play the game, once you're familiar with all the cards, then it would play much quicker, but it's going to take you a long time to get to that point. So just be aware of that. The learning curve is very high on this one. So that's the only thing that really detracts it from me. I think it will play smoothly once you know what you're doing. I think I'll be on a 7 out of 10 though, as it stands. Alright, thanks for watching. That was Black Rose Wars.